Hi, my name is Jeff Ritter. I'm the professor at La Roche College for this summer's class on Global and Development Internet. It's class Global 4007, and this is going to be a short video that's going to go along with the Class 1, a PDF, which is just a PDF of a PowerPoint form, so it's easy for you to look at and download and look at while I give a short introduction or some information for each page. I don't think this will be more than 10 minutes, so relax and take a look at each page. I'll tell you when to turn the page, and we'll get some information to you rather quickly. All right, so we're on the first page of the PDF 1 or Class 1 PDF. What are global classes? What are the expectations? And for you to explore the website. You should know by now, if you've been at Roche for a while, that we have a requirement for community and global, and that's part of the distribution or core requirement. Almost every college has something like that. And ours, global specifically, is to give you an idea of some things going on around the globe, outside of Pittsburgh, outside of the United States, because the chances are, odds are, almost everybody is going to be doing some work or have some part of your life involved around the world. And having more knowledge never hurts. So that's one of the reasons we have the global classes. So a little bit of exposure, some knowledge, some information about things other than your major. It's nice to focus on your major and have the career path and everything, but for liberal arts education, you really have to have more than that. That's what people will expect of you when you're in the workplace. The expectations of the class, basically, it's an online class, so we're not going to be in person at all. I'll be out of the country for part of it. I'll be traveling for part of it, so it wouldn't even be possible. But you can always email with questions or comments. You can always put stuff up on the discussion board. But the expectations are you're going to devote at least a couple of hours, I would say more like 4 hours a week, 4 or 5 hours at least a week to the class, doing some reading, some writing, adding to the discussion board, and some viewing of the videos. So make sure you have that kind of time this summer for doing the class. Some weeks may be more, some may be less. Do take your time to explore the website. I know Blackboard can be a bit confusing. Things aren't always labeled exactly as they should be or don't sound like what they turn out to be. So that'll give you a good chance to know what's on the website. There'll be readings, there'll be video and documents, and certainly writing assignments on the web, and discussion boards. Discussion boards are an important part of this class. It means you're going to interact with other students and with me, and so that means you react to and listen to virtually, read, and then respond to other people's writing. And that's where you really test out your own ideas. Just like in class, raising your hand and expressing yourself, that's what you do on a discussion board. All right, let's go to the next page, starting with what are ICTs. Just some of the basics that we have to have in order to talk about what we're going to talk about in the class. ICTs, information and communication technologies. Now, you can look up these other things yourself and to know more about them, but the significance of them is what I'm interested in. The processors, memory, bandwidth, and storage. Each one of these things has been changing along the way of the ICT revolution. As you know, we've got faster processors, more memory, higher bandwidth, and more storage at a lower cost. So those are the basics of what they are. What's so significant about them? Well, number one, they change independently. There's nobody in charge of the whole computer industry saying, okay, everybody change today. Companies, individuals, technology, research all work on their own to improve these things because they all bring about market opportunities when they do, chance for profit. Why do we want faster things and higher bandwidth and more storage all the time? So you can do more work, so you get more done, so you can hold more MP3s, so you can watch more videos, so you can create videos more quickly, so your work can be done faster. Any company that uses computers is going to take an opportunity to spend a couple $1,000s more, certainly, on their computer hardware to get more work done faster. They're always going to take that chance. So these things have been, as I said, changing independently and spurring on the marketplace along the way. And you'll get a chance to use some examples or write about some examples or observations about these in some of your papers and in the discussion board. The last part of that page, ICTs provide the ability to organize, disseminate, analyze. Look at all those things, and you can see that's the basic definition for what we do with computers and technology all day, every day. If you're listening to music, you're copying, you're storing, you're disseminating, it's just distributing, sending things out. Analyze information. Well, if you use Excel to create a spreadsheet and then make it into a chart, using that to analyze information. You're better off looking at a chart than you are a chart of numbers. I know I am. You're better off showing people a pie chart, then columns of data, and so we use these all the time, and that's what they make us. That's what they provide us with. How significant is that? Are those abilities? You can know for yourself. Hugely significant. It's what has brought about the productivity surge in the United States and around the world. It's what makes Bill Gates and others worth billions of dollars, because they've made us all more efficient, able to do more work and get more done. Does that mean we have more vacation time and we hang around and read magazines and listen to music more? No, it means we work more. But it wasn't necessarily what you have to do, but it's the way it ended up. But ICT's provided us. Now imagine if you didn't have these abilities, but you know it exists. Well, that's where some of the conflict or some of the interesting issues come up. All right, so go to the next page. Development. What is development? Simple sentence describes it. Meeting the needs of the people. Health, education, business, agriculture, government. That really covers almost everything in everyday life that we use, certainly, that meets our needs. Health and education, part of everyday life. Business provides things that government can't or won't provide. Agriculture is a necessity for food for every society around the world. And government, the structure that organizes society. So development uses all these things, as we do all around the world, to meet the needs of the people. And as you can tell, obviously you could make a conclusion from that right now. These things are not meeting the needs of the people around the world right now for various reasons, and that's what we'll go into next. But also think for yourself and look at these and say, how do ICTs apply to each one of these? ICTs in health? Well, electronic health records, or every website you use to look up information about health. ICTs in education? Obvious, you're using it right now. And the way the internet has impacted education. Internet and ICTs in business, providing business with the opportunities to create new kinds of businesses, also making everyday old types of business more effective and more efficient. Agriculture, even agriculture. You or I may not have experience with agriculture and farming, but in the United States and around the world, farmers and agribusiness uses ICTs to do everything to predict weather patterns, to driving tractors based on the GPS sitting in front of it. So very interesting things going on in e-government. Again, a very important part of what goes on in your everyday life in interacting with the government and what should be done or is going to be done around the world. Okay, so pretty clear on that, what development is and how important it is in everyday life. Switch to the next page. Underdeveloped, undeveloped, developing. We really don't say underdeveloped anymore as a phrase, or undeveloped country. There's no undeveloped country in the world. Every place has development, which means raising the standard of living so people have more access to health and education, all those things on the previous page. Developing is really what we use to describe countries around the world, even if it's somewhere like Somalia or Sudan or Haiti. They're all developing. Every one of those countries, though there's many poor people, and there even may be hungry people that don't have food security, is the way we put it today. There's also a middle class and even an upper class in all those countries around the world. They may not be very big or very strong, but they are big and they're growing. And we'll find out more about how the middle class is growing around the world right now in many of the developing countries. And lastly, we use the phrase least developed countries for about, I think it's the 15 least developed countries in the world, just the parts of the world where a large majority of people live on less than $1.25 a day and don't have food security. That means they don't really know where the next meal is coming from, and lack of access to health, even lack of access to clean water for many people. Not everybody, but for many. All right, so those are some of the terminologies we'll use. Go to the next page, factors of development. We're going to have to learn about these in the class. We can't just assume you know it, number one. Number two, it's an important part of our discussion about learning how, main message of the class, how ICTs aid and improve the potential for development, right, around the world. That's the main idea of the class. So we have to understand more of the factors. Number one is really the economy. It says right there, Commanding Heights video. That's what we'll use to really learn some basic economics. Good video series, kind of long, and a lot of detail in there, but It beats reading an economics textbook. I'm sure you'll agree. So you'll watch that. It's online, and you'll learn a lot about basic major theories of economics, how they've changed the world since World War I, and what the main issues in economics and development are. And you'll also learn about your own economy in the United States. If you don't know that much about it, it'd be a great way for you to learn things. Number two, it's not numbered there, but society, culture, and history. Obviously, these have been important factors of development, how the social world and cultural world and the history of the world has affected development. And we're going to look at the Cold War, as you might remember, from 1946 to about 1989 or 90. The Cold War, the United States, and really a global concept has affected development around the world. It's a major historical event, and some of you have lived through it, and certainly most of you know somebody who's lived through it. I've lived through it, and you'll find out more about it. Geography, is geography important? Certainly where countries are located, the relationship to other countries, and then globalization. We learned about that important concept through reading some and watching some videos from Thomas Friedman. Again, instead of reading a book, I've used to use his book in the class called The World is Flat. Great book. If you haven't read it, you should probably pick it up. But some of it is out of date. It's from the 1990s, and I don't like to put stuff in classes where people go, this is not up to date. So we'll watch some videos with him talking about his concepts, which are just as important. All right, go to the next slide. Reasons for lack of development. We have to figure this out. There's lots of people, lots of very smart people, and lots of money, and the research going towards this question all the time, because we really don't know the complete answer. But in order to address development, we have to know some of the reasons for lack of development. So number one, asymmetric development. You may be able to figure that out. Symmetric means things happening at the same time. Asymmetric means some things are happening differently. Things are developing at different rates, even within the same country, even within the same neighborhood. Is it fair? Is it logical? Is it the best way? Here's the main question. Should everybody have access to clean water before some people get access to computers? Well, logically, philosophically, even from a moral perspective, you might say, yes, why should we put in money for computers and internet access when some people don't have clean water? Well, the people who do have access to clean water, they have to move up. They're ready to move up. They're ready to gain access to internet or computers or even electricity. There's nobody in control enough of the world to say, let's wait for this to happen before that will happen next. In the United States, nobody says, let's everybody get a Model T before they get the Model A. It's up to the economy. It's up to individuals to make their own decisions and to spend their own money. So we have asymmetric development we accept in our own economy, so we have to accept that around the world too. We can't say, okay, one country has starving children, lack of food security in some places of that country. Other parts of it have farmers, have businesses, have shopkeepers, they even have factories or mines or other kinds of export industries, and they need to develop too. So nobody's there to say, time to hold that back. So we have to accept the idea of asymmetric development. It's a normal part of the world and the way humans conduct themselves. Certainly, it means that you always have the chance to move forward. Nobody's holding you back. The historical context of the Cold War is probably a major reason for the lack of development too. We'll get into more details on that as we study the Cold War. And the next one, it's not race, it's not climate, it's not intelligence, brain size, access to food. There's a lot of theories that are crackpot theories, basically, out there saying, well, if you have food falling from a tree, you're not going to develop as much, or some parts of the world, the brains aren't as developed or can't think in sequential or logical ways. Those are mostly crackpot racism or some kind of hatred or some kind of superiority theories of some kinds. We do know, and I think most scientists and most psychologists and everybody agrees, last sentence, intelligence is distributed globally at the same rate everywhere, right? I should say at instead of as. There's no evidence to the contrary that anybody's smarter or more intelligent than anybody else around the world. Just the way that stupidity is distributed around the world at the same rate everywhere. There's no evidence to the contrary that means that all people have the same potential for development. It's just a matter of the ways that some countries develop differently, in different order, and then colonialism in the Cold War meant that parts of the world are developing in different ways, more slowly than the rest, or bring you up to the same standard of living. All right, next slide, personal technology inventory. I'll give this to you as a writing assignment on the web about what you use in ICTs every day and how it affects your life, and there's a writing assignment on the web, on the Blackboard site, that gets you to think about these ideas, and that'll get you to really consider what would life be without these things for you, not just for everybody, just for you, especially if you knew they existed. What would you do to get your hands on the computer or internet or access to take the cell phone? How much, how much it would impact your life? How much would you do to make sure that would happen? Well, same for people around the world. They will do the same things, and that's what they're doing right now. People all over the world want to get access to these things. So last slide says homework we'll do these things about every week. I have a nice PDF for you with a short discussion from me. For next week, I'll make it clear in the announcement. Thomas Friedman video for you to watch and comment on the discussion board. You can do the ICT and Life essay and begin watching the Cold War videos, and that'll get you started on the discussion boards and the other things we want to do for the class. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll be doing some traveling, as I said, during the semester, but I will be keeping up on everything that's on the board, on the discussion boards and the assignments, etc. If you ever have questions, feel free to email me directly, and I hope this is working out for you. If you have any questions, do let me know, and I look forward to communicating with you more throughout the summer. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.